communicating, I think with my husband and with my kids, and it really does go hand in hand sometimes because I'll start yelling at one and then everybody else get dragged. Matter of fact, let me just yell at all of y'all because
All y'all can get
actually,
it.
yeah, because he made you, and I'm trying to figure out where he went wrong. But no, like obviously the old faithful treat people how you want to be treated. Um, and yeah, I never wanted to, I never experienced this. You know, for all intents and purposes, I was raised, even though I had siblings, they were a lot older than me, but I was kind of raised as an only child with a single father. And so I wasn't able to watch all these different components and different, moving pieces that we experience. And I didn't know much, but I knew I wanted peace in my home. And as far as my partner, I don't want to be talked to any type of way because I'm gonna cry. So I'm not gonna talk to you I'm not gonna incite that in my relationship even before I knew the Lord. And then obviously after I knew the Lord, I knew I had a bigger responsibility in that. And so again, not overnight. It's been some stuff said. But when it comes to, him, I want him to treat me a certain way and I want him to feel a certain way. I don't want him to walk around his home feeling disrespected and unloved or whatever. And I definitely don't want to feel that way. And when it comes to my children, I have to remember that this is a constant reminder for me. I want to have a relationship with these people after they no longer rely on me for food and water and shelter.
Yes.
And so when I communicate with them, I'm human. Stuff be said up in here, but I have to control how it comes out of my mouth. Now, sometimes mama will yell, and I give myself grace because my granny yelled at me, and I love that woman. She be yelling, I'm like, I just love her so much. Just look at her. Why would I make her yell at me like this? So, praying that your children will show you enough grace in the future when they're in therapy, whatever, that, I always say when I'm yelling, I'm like, when you tell your therapist, tell them I asked nicely first. Will you tell them that part? Will you tell them I asked nicely first before before my mom, But, I'm getting better in that area for sure. And just communicating with them because I want to be friends later. I'm like, y'all, let's do this work. Like, let's get this, because not only do y'all have an option to not be friends with me later, I got an option not to be friends with y'all either. No parent has to be friends with a disrespectful person, a child. It doesn't I'm like, so let's do this. Let's communicate effectively. Let's show each other respect, so that we can work through this and we can be cool later. Y'all don't y'all want to be on the island with mommy and, and we did that, man, we did it clink and, and just enjoying ourselves a little bit, but thinking for the future, you communicate now for what you want to come.
Yes.
Because people, I think, especially parents and especially older generations, are very short-sighted in that I can talk to my kid any kind of way, and they got to be friends with me or they got to respect me later. And I'm like, we know that ain't the case. So thinking toward the bigger picture. And as someone who has adult children who willingly talk to them, you did something right. So let us know.
Right.
And love her much.
Listen, I'm still learning with my husband, okay? So every day is learning experience, So communication, it's probably one of the biggest struggles I have had throughout the years. Again, still learning with my husband. I love what you said about the I statement. It's so good. It's so funny because I'm the complete opposite. I'm like your husband. I get defensive really easy. And right away, I think you're trying to say I did something wrong or I'm not right or what did I do? Or wait a minute, what about when you did this? So I get very defensive very easy. So still learning to do that. But I've definitely heard about that I statement. And I've tried to, even though I'm the one that gets defensive, I've still tried to practice and say, okay, this is how I am feeling about this. I'm not saying you did it. I'm just saying this is what I'm feeling about it. But one of the things that I have learned from my husband is, feelings are important. They're what God has given us, but we can't be led by our feelings. And that's something I still struggle with a little bit, but I still listen to him because I carry it over to my children. So maybe it hasn't completely caught when I'm talking to him sometimes, but it still penetrates and it carries over to my children. So in learning, we're living in this culture right now where it's we have to accommodate truth for feelings and our kids are being raised with all that around them. So it's whatever you feel, and we're supposed to base things on feelings. So with them being adults now, knowing man, they don't answer to me, if you will, there aren't the rules and regulations that I have, I have to believe the word of God is true, right? If you train a child in the way that they're supposed to go, they're not going to depart from it. But at the same time, they're experiencing this world and life. And how do I keep that communication open with them? So, just listening, my emotions still get involved. I had an instance with my daughter when she was off at college, and I'm like, come on, Lala, like, what do you mean? Like, and I got very upset and frustrated about something, and she knew I was upset, and then later as we talked a little bit more, when I had calmed down, she was like, Mom, I feel it's like you don't trust me. And I'm like, it's not that I don't trust you. I know you're out there in the world right now making these decisions, and I just want you to make right decisions. I want you to make these good decisions. So keeping that line of communication open with her, but telling her, listen, if I don't like something or if I don't agree with it, I'm going to have to tell you those things,
I literally was curious about how you were handling that. Like, how,
yes,
how do you handle hearing something that know that you've not poured into them, or and you don't necessarily support, but how do you like, as a Christian, as a mother, as a pastor, what lane do you answer from?
Yeah, it's hard because you don't want them to feel ostracized, but at the same time you need to, like, I have to stand on truth, right? When it comes to my children.